Knights of the Old Republic is a game from the early 2000s that holds a very dear place in many people's hearts. The RPG-centric game inspired the Star Wars comic series of the same name, with the first being developed by Bioware and the sequel belonging to Obsidian. With Obsidian now being owned by Microsoft and making games such as Fallout New Vegas, The Outer Worlds, and the more recently known Grounded, KOTOR was something different. It was known for its fleshed out world and beloved characters such as Darth Nihilus, HK-47, and of course Darth Revan. But why am I bringing up games that came out literally 17 years ago? Well, besides the absolutely dedicated fans of the series, I wanted to bring your attention to how these said fans kept the spirit of the franchise alive through fan-made projects, the possibility of there ever being a KOTOR 3, and the chances of it ever officially continuing, almost 2 decades later. For serious KOTOR fans, this video may sting a little, but for those who loved the first 2 games and never really followed up from that, perhaps there are a few things here you never knew and suddenly might feel a bit of the pain most KOTOR hardcore fans feel almost every day. But before I dive into all that stuff, my question of the day is, what is your favourite character from the Knights of the Old Republic? Of course, I'm keeping on topic and referring to the video games and not the comics. Let me know what that character is and the reason as to why in the comments down below. And if you love all things Star Wars, Empire at War, Squadrons and more, definitely hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. We have plenty of Squadrons content covering the game as it reaches release. And we're almost about to hit 100,000 subscribers, so you'd definitely be doing us a solid. But now, back to the video. Just a little KOTOR history lesson or recap for all of you. Upon release of Knights of the Old Republic in July 2003, all the initial stock of the Xbox version were all sold in a matter of days. What was a soft estimate of what would be sold in 2 weeks was gone in no more than 4 days. It became Xbox's fastest selling game on the console at launch, with the game having a global sales of up to 3.2 million by 2007, and definitely even more after its mobile launch and Steam relaunch in 2009. With its original music and unique writing literally winning awards, the game was a love letter to all Star Wars fans alike, appealing to its truly core demographic. With this success, it only made sense that a sequel was made, and barely over a year later, the sequel was made. But it wasn't without its hiccups. Bioware decided against developing the sequel, with senior creative director James Owen stating that the company was worried about becoming a usable pawn by publishers, and to control their success, they opted to work on their own IP, Dead Space, instead of the sequel. This behemoth of a task was bestowed to Obsidian Entertainment, thanks to Bioware's actual recommendation to LucasArts. The pressure to keep up with the sheer praise and award-winning potential the predecessor had was not one that could be handled mentally by developers. And with such a horrendously short development time, Obsidian stuck to almost all of the same gameplay mechanics Bioware had already created, stating to continue the series tradition of not fixing what was not broken. Thankfully, the game was a success, albeit some minor bugs on the Xbox release, and selling very well over its lifespan, despite it not being as much as the colossal success its older brother had. But after that, the series went dead. Disney's buy-up of the full Star Wars franchise plummeted the series into non-canon legends, never to be truly acknowledged in lore again. But what if I was to say there was a third game in the works soon after the release of the second, created by the same Obsidian studio, the KOTOR series seeing resolution and becoming the fabled trilogy it was always meant to be? Well, with KOTOR 3, the ball had already been rolling and development was already being made on the project. And the reason the team had always felt the game was a trilogy was because they made subtle attempts to foreshadow that Darth Revan wasn't always a bloodthirsty, hatefully twisted character he's known to be. Of course, Revan is a Sith Lord and played a major role in the original game, only then to be a mystery and his whereabouts be unknown in KOTOR 2. But as ex-Obsidian game designer Chris Everlon revealed that KOTOR 3 would have you following the trail of Revan, journeying across the galaxy to battle ancient Sith Lords, in which Chris stated were far more terrifying than the actual Darths that show up. And defeating these ancient relics of time would uncover their origin stories, helping you piece together the clues of what happened to Revan. Chris described these as ancient Siths just being pure monsters and would have the level of power that was considerable, but at the same time you'd be able to dig more into their personalities, their history, the reason the way they are, the different powers they've cultivated and developed, really taking the time to explore their justifications for the dark side and the stamp they left in their galaxy. Chris also revealed that even Bioware was once interested in developing that third game, as well as an internal team at LucasArts. But with the cultural change to the FPS multiplayers, spurred on with online capabilities of the Xbox 360 and PS3, as well as the huge hit that was Call of Duty, it seemed this magnificent project didn't go anywhere, and that single-player narrative games had to take a step back behind the curtain. As the developer of the fan-made KOTOR remakes, Chris Ringenberg said, "I don't think it's possible for us to get anything like KOTOR again, at least not until the industry changes. But that change might have already occurred, with Jedi Fallen Order releasing in 2019. It's shown publishers and developers alike that there is a mass demand for single-player orientated narrative gameplay, and with subreddits dedicated to KOTOR growing by the day in popularity, perhaps the constant letdowns these fans suffer may come to an end." Whilst yes, there isn't such confirmation of this KOTOR game actually taking off, it's not like the series has been completely ignored for a full decade, with games being relaunched on Steam in 2009 and the first game being ported to mobile devices in 2013, and even Darth Revan himself making it into canon thanks to Rise of the Skywalker. If you want to read more into that, Eckhartsladder's video on the topic is in the top right corner of your screen now. He goes into a lot more detail. So it's not like the game has just been tossed away. But the biggest hope that a lot of KOTOR fans are waiting for is the report from last year that Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy had confirmed that Disney was looking into adapting the KOTOR games for the big screen or for Disney+, with BuzzFeed stating with insider knowledge that the script had finished its first drafts later on in that same year. Who knows, perhaps the story that KOTOR 3 was meant to have might be adapted for the big or small screen. Or even a tie-in game would be appropriate for the series, which means we could see a full reboot or remake of the KOTOR game franchise. Whilst yes, the announcement of the High Republic series of books and comics does put any Old Republic films or TV series on shaky ground, KOTOR fans are never known to give up hope. So we'll just have to wait and see. But to play devil's advocate, would a third Knights of the Old Republic game really be up to the expectations of the players in this day and age? Sometimes we do have to take those rose glasses off and acknowledge that the gameplay wasn't perfect. And whilst they've made strides to become a better company, would you really want the third KOTOR game to be under the supervision of EA? When the games came out, the world of Star Wars was in a very different place and time. Pre-Disney, with games not being under a 10-year license lockdown under one publisher. If games like Half-Life has taught us anything, expectations are impossible to fulfill, and the only way to appease the fans is to lower that promise with a spin-off, whether that be games, TV or film. Overall, KOTOR will always remain in the hearts of many fans. Nothing quite captured the charm and awe that both Bioware and Obsidian games captured. Both companies did an amazing job at building out fully functioning systems of characters that felt more than just a character with a side quest. It put aside the constant war-centric conflict of the Rebels and the Empire and built something that just made the Star Wars universe feel lived in and alive. Many Star Wars games attempted to recreate this magic through MMOs, single-player narratives, and multiplayer war zones, but nothing got it just right like KOTOR 1 and 2, so the mentioning of a third installment with today's graphics feels like it would have been a dream come true for many fans. But talking about KOTOR remakes with today's graphics, one dedicated fan was doing just that. If you enjoy seeing that gameplay and the comparison to the original and the devastating story behind it, let me know in the comments. Perhaps it might be a story you'd like me to tell. But that does come to the end of the video. What do you think about the chances of KOTOR 3? Is it something you really want, or have you moved on from the franchise? Perhaps you're content with the two games you have now and you wouldn't want it to be ruined with a third. Let me know in the comments down below, alongside my question of the day, which is, what is your favourite character for the Knights of the Old Republic? Really interested to hear your answers, guys. And for the 10 of you who made it to the end, why not check out our video on the Wolfen 2 Starfighter? It is so overpowered, but has only appeared in one game in one level, and that's it. If you want to hear more about that amazing fighter, click the info card in the top right of your screen now. Definitely worth the watch. But other than that, I've been Charlie, you've been watching X2, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.